The left really does not want illegals deported. We can only guess why. And with Donald Trump rising the polls, they are unleashing the anti-deportation fiscal porn. The latest is from the left-wing New Republic, trying to scare Americans off mass deportation of the millions of illegal immigrants Malala has imported to take your job and apparently get sex changes in prison. Now, New Republic kicks off attacking Trump's, quote, baseless claim that illegals are taking jobs from blacks and Hispanic Americans, which is obviously true. A few weeks ago, I noted Bureau of Labor Statistics numbers how native-born Americans have lost 1.3 million jobs, replaced by 1.2 million migrants. Considering illegals have astonishingly low levels of education, half have not finished high school, these lost jobs will be concentrated among blue-collar jobs, which make up roughly 70% of jobs for Black Americans and almost 80% for Hispanic Americans. So yes, blacks and Hispanics are the primary labor force victims of illegals. New Republic actually admits this, where it goes on to lament the manual worker labor shortage if we mass deport, spinning images of crops rotting in the field as if native-born Americans, black, white, and Hispanic, lack the finely honed skills to pick up a cantaloupe. Of course, we won't have a labor shortage specifically because blacks, Hispanics, and even white people will now have those jobs. Big Ag will just have to pay better wages. Next, New Republic trundles out the other big argument against deportation, the cost. I discussed this a few months ago, but the left is waving numbers like $150 billion for deportations. That's about $11,000 per migrant. Of course, this is the deal of the century compared to illegals' lifetime costs of at least $70,000 each in welfare, social services, Medicaid, food stamps, subsidized housing, and, of course, prison, giving illegals commit far more crime than natives and a ton more crime than legal immigrants. Thing is, even this deal of the century is massively exaggerating the cost, and we know this because we've actually had mass deportations before. In the 1930s Dust Bowl, Franklin D. Roosevelt deported up to 2 million mostly Mexicans, of whom, incidentally, half were anchor babies with citizenship. I mentioned that because the left will claim it is illegal. No, it is not. Now, what makes the FDR deportations interesting is between 80 and 90% of the removals were voluntary. They left on their own. Why voluntary? Because they didn't want to go to jail, so they took a bus instead. I've predicted this in recent videos, but it's nice to have an actual number from FDR, no less. This all suggests the left is overcounting the cost of deportation by 5 to 10-fold, meaning we could be looking at, say, $20 billion for deportation compared to something like $1 trillion in welfare costs saved, plus whatever social pathologies and socialist voters come from 10 million plus illegals. So what's next? Brought to you by Unchained.com. Most voters want mass deportations, a first in modern polling, including 9 in 10 Trump voters, 6 in 10 independents, and even 3 in 10 Harris voters. Given this level of voter frustration, a second Trump term will have a clear mandate to first cut off the benefits, which would start the mass self-deportations, and then to help the laggards onto a bus. The left will fight tooth and nail, from lawsuits to their trademark riots, but if voters feel this strongly, the left will fail. Okay, we'll be watching. See you next time.